Greetings and salutations, travelers of the internet, and welcome to the Lit Round Table. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Anna, and we'll be your wise or not so wise mentors for today's audio adventure into all things storytelling. Welcome to episode 23. Today, we're talking about Andor. Specifically, we are unpacking Andor, and I'm very excited.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we recorded because of holidays and schedules and whatever. So it's not quite as timely as it maybe would have been, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Also, a little housekeeping. You might hear my furnace in the background. That's because it's very cold here and I'm not turning it off. So
If it's 15 degrees, I think you get to leave your AC on even when you're recording. So it's okay.
Definitely not my AC, but yes.
Well, your air is being conditioned to be hotter.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So because I know that it's been a while since we recorded, that means that we both have a lot of things that we've been reading and watching to share with one another. I know it's my episode. I'm going to lead us off.
Yes. Because I asked you to, because I forgot to write my list down.
Yes.
And I want your list to jog my memory.
Okay. So I'm going to start with my reading list.
Okay.
I finished reading The Treasure with a Face by Janeen, Zaio. This was a Catholic young adult middle grade book. I read it because we were doing a book club on it. She and I were co-hosting a club. Anyway, so I read that. If you are Catholic or have an interest in like how Catholics view communion and like early Christianity, it's a fun little read. Also reading Red Seas Under Red Skies because that is our read-along book. That's by Scott Lynch. I finished reading The First 4 Years by Laura Ingalls Wilder, which means that I have officially finished reading the Little House series.
Wow.
Yes.
What an achievement.
I mean, not to toot my own horn, but yeah.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. I have some like thoughts about the Little House books. Maybe we can do a episode on that sometime. Just some general thoughts and feelings.
You'll be leading that one.
Yes. And then I'm also reading Howl's Moving Castle. Still working on that. I'm pre-reading that because I'm going to do it as a book club next year. So I'm reading through it slowly and developing materials. So it's been very fun.
Smart.
And I also finished reading Nettle and Bones by T. Kingfisher. What a spooky and fun book.
Really?
Yes. Would recommend.
I like spooky.
It's not very long, but it's quite good. So you should read it. I think you would like it.
How spooky? Like genuinely spooky or just like mild spook?
Mild spook.
Okay.
Like not gonna.
It's not Stephen King.
No.
Okay.
Do you think I would be I mean, I know people like Stephen King. It's not my jam because I don't like being that spooked. It was maybe I can't even say it was as spooky as like The Haunting of Hill House because it's not like ghosts. Well, I don't want to spoil anything.
It's fine. Well, yeah.
But it's good.
Keep moving. It's fine. I'm intrigued, though. Maybe I'll check it out.
It's not very long, and it's relatively new. So, I do want to give just a small NaNoWriMo update, even though we are in the middle of December.
Yeah.
I did not win.
Nuts.
I was about 12,000 words short. But I was putting up a valiant effort. If the last week of NaNoWriMo hadn't coincided with some like major things happening at work that like left me brain dead at the end of the day, I could have done it.
How many words
I was
did you
on
type?
trajectory. I had like 38,000, I think.
Nice. Hey, man, that's still
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. So, and I like the story a lot. And it's not in my usual, it's a new world. It's a new setting, new
Ooh.
premise.
You know how hard I had to resist bursting out into a copywritten song when you said A New World? A Disney song?
I'm glad you refrained.
Yeah. It was hard. It was real hard.
Yes.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Is it the same kind of genre?
It is fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like elves fantasy.
Okay.
So. And then for... Cool. I want to say more, but I don't want to say it on the pod. We can talk about it later. Okay, so then for watching, obviously finished Andor. We're talking about it today.
Right.
Spy Family. Freaking love it. Like, one of the top tier anime right now for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
My Hero Academia, caught up on that. That is stressful. Even though
Yes.
I knew what was coming, it's been stressful. To Your Eternity. Season 2 came out, or is airing. Has also been very good. Also very stressful. I'm back on the Critical Role campaign train. So campaign 2, I'm on episode 112. And oh my word. I have so many questions.
I know you do.
And I'm up to date on campaign 3, which the new episode is airing tonight.
It's Thursday night.
Woo! I've also been watching Doctor Who again.
Oh, okay.
Because I fell off during the Peter Capaldi years.
Same.
But I saw that David Tennant was having like a second little stint. I think he's just in a few episodes. And I was like...
Probably the Christmas special or something. That's my guess.
I don't really know exactly the premise.
Yeah, me neither.
But I know that he's back, and I loved David Tennant as the Doctor. So I was like, oh, I need to get caught back up so that I can enjoy David Tennant as the Doctor again for a little bit. So I'm in... I don't even know what the lady's name is. But I'm in the middle of her seasons.
Jodie Whittaker.
Thank you. Yes.
There you go.
She's lovely.
Took me a second.
I really like her.
Good.
She's great.
Good.
I wish she would have had a longer stint, honestly. I watched Tales of the Jedi, which was so good.
Oh man,
little baby Ahsoka. Oh my gosh.
And was
Dooku?
Was I right about like the young Dooku and like you see young Qui-Gon too, and like seeing Dooku go get seduced by the dark side, even though like his thoughts and his like his opinions on things were right. It's just the methods, and like he got advice from all the wrong places. He should have been getting advice from like the good guys and not the evil overlord. But
you know what's fascinating is that Ahsoka was on the same kind of trajectory as Dooku was in so many ways. And so it was really interesting to see their two stories being told, like, kind of together that way. And what a difference it was for Ahsoka to have, like, Qui-Gon. And even Anakin was, like, a solid voice of reason for her.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
But
just everything about that. I was, like, going into that with really low expectations. I was like, here we go, another animated thing, whatever. I'll put it on and just for fun. And then I was completely blown away. Yeah. Well done. Dave Capaldi. Not Dave... Wait, well, Peter Capaldi threw me off. Dave Filoni.
Yes. Yeah, no, very good. And not very long, so, like, if you just need, like, a little Star Wars in your life, like... Yeah. I watched White Christmas, because we're in Christmas season.
Nice.
I watched another, like, random Hallmark... It wasn't a Hallmark movie, but it was, like, that kind of Christmas movie. I don't remember what it was called. It was good. It had people from One Tree Hill in it. Obviously not
Oh,
playing the same
I
characters.
forgot that show existed.
But I like their actors. So, and I also watched the Junior Bake Off on Netflix, which if you like the Great British Bake Off, it's the same thing but with like kids, little British kids. And
Are they the
it's
same judges?
No, they have prior contestants on the Great
Oh,
British Bake Off
that's cool.
judging, so that's really fun.
That's fun.
And the kids are like so stinking cute. Although I will say that the number of times that they dropped something on the floor and then just picked it up and put it back on their tray,
Oh,
like just cracked me up because I was like, "Ooh, okay."
they're kids.
Yeah, like there was one
5-second
week.
rule.
There was seriously one week where they all like dumped their cupcakes. Like not all at the same time, but like throughout the episode, cupcakes were just falling on the floor, not frosted. So they just like
Yeah.
pick them up and put them back on their tray, and then they frosted them. And I was like, oh gosh, if it were the adult Bake Off, those would have gone in the bin. They would have started over. But
Yeah,
it was really funny.
yeah, that's fun.
And the Meghan and Harry documentary on Netflix. I don't know what
I've
it's
heard of it.
called.
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm still watching Sister Wives because it's still airing. But it's so dramatic. I'm allowed to have junk TV once in a while, okay?
You're right. Just as long as it doesn't interfere with your Critical Role binging.
It doesn't
Okay,
anymore because
that's
I'm caught up. So,
good.
it's just one episode a week. So, anyway. I think that's all.
Cool.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not all. I also watched Wednesday on Netflix.
Nice.
So
Yep.
good. Did you watch
That's
it?
a good one.
It's so good.
I have not finished it.
Oh,
I'm
my
I'm
gosh.
like 2 episodes from the end. I'm like really close, but
So much happens in those 2 episodes. My
Yeah.
gosh. It's so good.
I mean TikTok has spoiled a lot of it, but it's fine.
Yeah. But
It's really
good.
it is really good. Jenna Ortega. Good job.
Phenomenal. And yeah, no, the whole thing is so good.
And that little dance she does during the
Yes,
the school dance has taken the internet by storm.
it really has. It really has. Yeah, no, I thought that was really fun. I know that like some of the like the visual effects are like
It's Tim Burton.
a little subpar, but it's
Yeah.
fine because the story's good. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Cool.
That's what I got.
Is that about it?
That's it.
Okay. Here we go.
Did I help you
Playing.
remember?
It did. It did remind me of some things. So
Okay.
for playing, I've been playing a lot of so update on the PlayStation 5. It's back and it got fixed. I don't know. I don't think I had gotten to say that yet.
Nope.
So Sony did fix it for free. Yay. Under warranty. So
That's
I've been
awesome.
playing more of Cyberpunk 2077, and I believe I'm actually close to beating the story on it. So then I'll get to switch to something else.
Do you refer to your PlayStation 5 as like, do you give it a pronoun? Like, he's home. She's home.
I mean, I did in that one text that I sent. I've never done that before. I
But
was,
I mean, I was just asking because I do that for stuff.
it was, yeah, I don't normally, but it was just like, oh yay, the PS5's back. So then I like when I first got it and it was glowing again, and it was alive. I think it was like a Snapchat or a picture or something. I don't know. And I was like, she's back.
I couldn't remember if it was a girl or a boy.
Yeah. But no. Very good. So yeah, Cyberpunk. For video game wise, I mean, I played a little bit of Pokemon Legend of Arceus, not the new one. I'm not up to date, but I was playing that, and then Hope kind of took over the Switch, playing Disney Dreamlight Valley. So
Yes.
it's fine. So I've been playing Cyberpunk while she plays that game, which is fine. It's fun when she finds a game that she latches onto.
Yeah.
It's entertaining for me.
For sure.
So also still playing D&D, and things have...
How's that dragon egg? We gotta know.
It's still around.
Okay.
It's just there in the background always. Thrill has a little backpack harness thing that they like that he like carries it around with. So
I love it.
it's just always there.
So much.
Yeah. So, yes, that's been fun. We're progressing through the actual plot of the module now,
Good. Good.
which is good. We needed to get out of Baldur's Gate. That was a long stint. So, but yeah, that's been going really well. That's been really fun. That's pretty much it for playing. For reading, we're reading Red Seas Under Red Skies for our read along, and I'm still chugging through Stormlight Archive on the last book now, Rhythm of War, and right? Yes, yes, and I'm on like chapter 30 something, or I might be in the 40s now. I don't know, but that has been a journey.
Yes.
So, and I'm gonna be really sad when the book's over and I can't. Now I'm stuck in the same rut as everybody else, having to wait for the new release. And it was kind of funny because Brandon Sanderson, who I follow on TikTok now, put out a little video that was like, "Hey, exciting news on Stormlight 5. I officially have, I forget what the word count was, this many words, which is about the average length of a typical novel. Now, this is a Stormlight book, so let's keep going until it's the length of about 4 novels."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Those are the only books of his that are like that, though. None of his other books are that chonky. It's just these Stormlight Archive books are huge. So,
Funny.
anyway, so that's been fun.
Well,
That's
so
pretty
when
much
you
it for
finish
reading,
it,
though.
you can read Nettle and
Right.
Bones.
Yeah. Well, once I'm done with it, I think I do want to read that Critical Role book about Molly Mock
Ooh.
that came out.
The 9 Lives of Lucian? Something like that.
Yeah, it's like the it's like the
The-
backstory book. And Robbie Damon did the audiobook for
I
it.
know.
So I have some Audible credits that I'm definitely going to burn on that one.
Same. I'm
Yeah.
excited, but I'm also waiting till I finish Critical Role Campaign 2.
You have to. You absolutely have to.
Well, now I understand why.
Yes.
And also, I almost watched the Four-Sided Die from a couple weeks ago, but like in the preview thing,
They started talking
they started
about
talking about something, and I was like, nope, and I turned it off.
goodbye. Good job. Proud of you.
So,
Yeah, so I'm just gonna let that go ahead and transition me into what I've been watching. Critical Role. I watched the Mighty Nine reunion, and that was super fun. And I'm caught up on campaign 3. Gonna keep watching that tonight. I've also been watching Fantasy High on Dimension 20,
ooh,
and that's really entertaining. I really love Brennan Lee Mulligan.
is that one on YouTube? I know a lot of theirs are
Yeah,
not on YouTube. Okay.
that one is on YouTube. There's a different streaming thing where they have the like uncensored versions of everything that you can go watch for like a subscription, because it's like it's censored and like bleeped and whatever on the YouTube version.
Sure.
And I'm sure you also get it like sooner or something if you do the subscription version maybe.
Right.
But anyway, that's been really entertaining. For other watching things for shows, I also, like I said before, was watching Wednesday. I've been watching, kind of rewatching Cyberpunk Edge Runners with Hope, and that's been fun. The anime based on the video game. So that's been cool. I also finished Vinland Saga on Netflix, like the first season. What were you gonna say?
You mentioned anime, and it reminded me that we were watching Fate Zero together, which I didn't mention, but
We are watching Fate Zero also. Yes. Almost done with that.
yeah.
And then we're gonna jump into Fate Stay Night.
Yes. Yes. Sorry. You finished Vinland Saga.
I did finish Vinland Saga. I need to look up when campaign 2 that starts, or campaign 2, season 2 starts with that again. But that's been really, really fun. I also put some of the manga for that on my Christmas wish list because I wouldn't mind having the manga for Vinland Saga, even though I know it's crazy long. Also watching Spy Family and My Hero Academia
Mm-hmm.
as that's been airing. Spy Family, just a little shot of dopamine into my brain every week.
Mm-hmm.
And My Hero, I usually start with My Hero because that's gonna just stress me out, and then
Same.
I'll watch Spy Family,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be like it's like a downer and then an upper. And then
Yeah.
um, I've also been watching Chainsaw Man on Tuesdays,
Oh.
and that has been crazy. That's really picking up now. But that's been really fun. I've really enjoyed that.
Cool.
Um, let's see for other watchings. That is close to it. Oh, also, there's that new Dragon Age Absolution show on Netflix that I started watching because Matthew Mercer is one of the leads in it, and I think Ashley Birch is also in it
Nice.
as a
I have.
character.
I haven't started it. I did see it on YouTube, and it started not YouTube, Netflix, and it started auto playing, and I was like, I think that's Matthew Mercer,
It
and
totally
it
is. Yeah,
is.
I didn't even look it up. I was just like, that is Matthew Mercer. There's no way it's not.
Well, I mean, I was pretty positive. I just clicked on it, and you go into the show, and it tells you who like the key people are.
They even made the character look like him.
Did they really? I love that.
Yeah,
That's great.
he definitely looks like Matthew Mercer. So, also, of course, finished watching Andor because that's what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another Disney Plus thing that I had watched, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Um, we also finished Cabinet of Curiosities,
Oh yeah.
by Guillermo del Toro. Yeah, the Disney Plus thing is just gonna have to maybe come to me later because I can't think of it. There's been a lot of things being watched
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, it's getting cold out, so like
Hmm.
spending more time at home, and it's been a while since we've recorded, so like a regular
This is
episode.
true.
We've been recording the
Yeah.
read-alongs, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm also getting over a cold. So if you listened to the read-along last week, I sounded like I had a cold. I don't sound like I have a cold now, but I'm sorry if I involuntarily clear my throat.
I forgive you.
I am a human. Okay.
Good. That'd be disconcerting
True story.
if you were not.
True story. Okay. So, did you cover everything?
I believe so. I think
Okay.
I'm done. I did the reading and the playing and the watching.
And we got the dragon egg update.
The dragon egg. Yep.
It's really important to me.
Hmm.
I hope that you tell Thrill how important to me that dragon egg
Okay.
is. I don't know Thrill or their person.
Player. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm invested in the dragon egg.
Yes. I will tell Kyle. Shout
Thank
out
you.
to Kyle. That other people are heavily invested in what happens to this dragon egg.
Yes, very much so.
All right.
Okay, so let's talk about Andor.
Andor.
First of all, let's just give like a general thoughts. Positive, negative. What's the vibe?
Sure. My consensus is overwhelmingly positive,
Same.
which I think Star Wars has just needed a win.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it does have wins. Like I'm not one of those people that thinks like ever since Disney took over, it's been hot steaming garbage. No, I don't think so. But it the Star Wars fatigue was a real thing for a little bit there, and Mandalorian kind of helped fix that. But then it has started to become like really, really like fan servicey and lots of like cameo appearances of like you know what I'm talking about. But then this was kind of a breath of fresh air in that we never saw a lightsaber. We never
You're
saw
right. We didn't.
any force user at all. I don't believe, unless there's some kind of twist later on. But
I mean,
someone can use the force.
I wouldn't
But
be surprised if at some point we encounter some like Inquisitors,
yeah,
possibly, but maybe not.
I mean they were mostly hunting Jedi down, not so much
That's
this
true.
type. But all that to say, it was very it was like a perspective on the universe that I felt was really fresh and needed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I liked Kenobi a lot, but Kenobi was a little more like divisive in the fan base. But this one, it pretty much, I feel like most people have really enjoyed Andor. So
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed Kenobi too.
hmm
But I felt like, I mean, we've talked about Boba Fett at length previously.
yeah, Boba Fett was also kind of
I
like
was like, I felt lukewarm about
underwhelming.
it.
Yeah,
And as much as I liked Bad Batch, I wasn't like, oh, I've got to watch Bad
yeah,
Batch. It was just like, oh yeah, that's on.
yeah.
I could watch that.
Wasn't super
So,
invested, you know.
right. But Andor, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to get home so I can watch
hmm
Andor.
Yep.
I think that Andor did what The Last Jedi wanted to do with the Canto Bight scene.
Mm. hmm
And I think that it did it more successfully than The Last Jedi did, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did appreciate, or maybe chuckle at, the mention of Canto Bight, because it did get mentioned.
It did. You're right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
But it's kind of like a slummy, like casino type environment, which it was.
Yeah. I think that, like you said about how it did that scene better. I mean, it's also a TV show, so they have like more time to do it and like really delve deep into the issue. But I think you're right that it was like a political espionage thriller type situation,
Mm-hmm.
and they brought a lot of things to the forefront that like were there in Star Wars. Like the
Mm-hmm.
Empire's corrupt. You
Mm-hmm.
know you know that people are being like oppressed, and but you don't really get to see like really dig under the hood and see exactly how, other than like big doomsday weapons that blow up planets.
Right.
um you don't get to see like the injustice in the imperial court system,
Mm-hmm.
like when Cassian gets thrown into this work camp.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to see like the rebellion's manifesto being written by this random guy on their first mission.
Mm-hmm.
I love that character, by the
Yeah.
way.
Same.
You don't know anything. I didn't know Mon Mothma had a sister, but she does.
Or that she had a daughter or a husband.
Yeah, you don't know anything about Mon Mothma. She just kind of
Mm-hmm.
stands there in her white dress and is,
A figurehead of sorts.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to see her like fight in the Senate for like equality and representation and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just really interesting how politically focused it was on how corrupt the Empire is, and them trying to over like throw a wrench in things and start this rebellion up. But you also get to see this. So you're seeing like how the rebellion is made, but you also get to see how the Empire is trying to thwart it, and you get to meet basically the Imperial Gestapo. You get to meet like the secret police of the
Yeah.
Empire,
Yeah.
and that's like the main antagonist is Deidre Miro, who is
Mm-hmm.
this kind of really doesn't take any crap, uh, force of nature type
Mm-hmm.
uh, character, super driven, and trying to work her way
And
up the Imperial
obsessive.
ladder. Yeah,
She's also like
obsessive.
obsessive about what she's trying to do.
She's not afraid of like pushing the limits and
Mm-hmm.
crossing lines into like other
No.
people's jurisdictions to
Yeah.
get stuff done. And it's annoying because she's like totally right. Like
Yeah.
she is hot on their tail, and she like knows like she's onto them, but she's like having to go through this imperial red tape, and it's like holding her back kind of.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, oh no, no, stop being such a force of nature, just chill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want our heroes to get caught.
Right.
But
Right. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
so
And she like is willing to and does torture people.
yeah.
And like
Oh,
even admits that like, yeah, even if you told me the right answer, I'm probably not gonna stop.
yeah. Yeah.
Which is horrendous.
Yeah, she's a piece of work.
Yeah, so we have like the Cassian storyline, which is obviously like it's Cassian Andor, so it's his show.
It's his show. Yeah. He's in all the episodes.
He's in all the episodes, but he's not in all the storylines, right? he ends up being connected to all of them eventually, but not like always directly. Like he's connected to the Mon Mothma storyline, even though they have not met each other or talked to each other or know anything about each other really. But they're connected because of Luthen, who's the like espionage mastermind that's like starting the rebellion. I have so many questions about him.
What a character. He's so entertaining. This Luthen guy.
Entertaining in like I'm fascinated and I'm like locked in when he's on the screen. He's not like funny.
Yeah. No, he's just captivating.
Yeah.
You get to see him like change his facade and become this antique dealer.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Easter eggs in that antique shop too. There's tons of YouTube videos you can check out.
Oh yeah.
To see all the different. There's like stuff from the Force Unleashed games in there. There's there's all kinds of stuff. But anyway, just seeing him like put on this fake like foxy smile as he walks out to be this antique dealer and talk to Mon Mothma and like it's just, and he has the wig on and it's just so entertaining to watch him be this super spy. Super cool. He has some great monologues too, talking about like the ends justifying the means of his actions and like who he's willing to sacrifice to get stuff done. And it's like, it's dark.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's like, it's stuff that you don't really think about, right? So when you watch Star Wars A New Hope or The Empire Strikes Back, like the rebellion is already established.
Right.
You're not thinking about like, how did they get to this point where they have ships, where they have the funds to actually like launch these attacks. And so Andor is really like talking about how they get funds, how they get materials, and yeah, what they're willing to do to be successful. And there's like people that are, double agents that he's been grooming for these positions. And when they try to back out, he's like, that's not an option. You can't do that. Like that was one of, like that whole sequence where he's talking to that Imperial officer that's not actually an Imperial officer, was like so enthralling.
Yeah.
Because he's so committed.
Yeah, you get to hear a lot about his motivations and his drive. It's like seeing this Deidre Miro character chasing after him is going to be a fun time. And but I also am aware that Luthen is kind of filling in the wise old mentor that's going to eventually bite the dust so that the main character can fill the role.
I mean, we don't see him in Rogue One.
Right.
So, yeah, I think his days are numbered. But
I'm expecting him to go out in a blaze of glory at some point, and for Cassian to pick up the pieces and start running like the Rebels spy network. That's what I'm expecting. I'm jumping ahead to like things that I'm hoping to see in future seasons of the show. I hope we get to see him like reprogram and have K2SO on his team.
yes.
Because he like one of those enforcer droids is who arrests him and throws him in that work camp. He has an interaction with those enforcer droids, and that was really funny.
I'm hoping, or I think it would be cool if we had like a Mads Mikkelsen cameo in season 2, because he's an Imperial officer or scientist, I should say. He wasn't necessarily an officer that like got out because he didn't like what the Empire was doing. So I think there's an opportunity for him to like be in season 2 at some point, possibly to like connect it to Rogue One.
Yeah, we could even see director Krennic, who was the guy overseeing the construction of the Death Star under Tarkin. Yeah, there's a lot of things we could see.
We won't see Jyn Ersa at all because she's
I doubt it.
A child, but I do think
she's not a child. She's in jail.
Well, at this point, she's in jail. But yeah.
We did see Saul Guerrero though.
We did. I am so conflicted. I don't know how to feel about Saul Guerrero.
He's a rough character. He's like very gray. He's you don't quite know which way he's gonna land. Like I think his intentions are good, but he's just very bullish, and
Yeah. But
he
then
goes real hard.
yeah, but then to see him come up against Luthen, and Luthen's like, he's like, well, we have to. I don't know, the disagreement that between Saw Gerrera and Luthen. I was like, I think I'm on Saw Gerrera's side on this one, which feels wrong.
Right. Yeah, because he's like the extremist freedom fighter character,
Right.
and Luthen is the super spy who's willing to sacrifice people to achieve his ends. So it's
Very
very
pragmatic. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much to touch on with this show.
I know.
Like three things just pinged in my brain. I have to like pick one. Which rabbit trail do I want to go down next?
Let's talk about something kind of light. The little
Okay.
droid that Cassian's mom has.
Oh, the little
I love
accordion
it.
droid.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
It might be my new favorite Star Wars droid.
Mm-hmm.
It is so cute. And
He's fun.
you can just tell that it's never had its memory wiped. Okay, so like in Star Wars Legends, like that's why C-3PO and R2-D2 have personalities, is because their memories were like not wiped for a long time, so they like developed personalities, and that's why the Imperial droids are just like blah, because they get the memory wiped all the time. So like every time they introduce a new droid that like we can kind of fall in love with, I'm like, oh, it's another one that didn't ever have its memory wiped. But I don't know if that's canon or not.
Yeah.
I have no idea. It was just a Legends thing that I've like hung on to. But
It makes sense.
This little droid, I love it a lot.
The way he talks is really
Oh my gosh,
adorable.
so cute.
It's not Star Wars without a
Yeah.
cute new droid, you know?
No, I guess not.
Yeah.
I mean, C-3PO and R2-D2 weren't necessarily cute, but I appreciate that they've gone in a cute direction with the droids.
Very endearing.
Because 3PO is just annoying. And R2's very smart. And sometimes goofy.
And
He
funny.
sometimes does
Yeah.
goofy things. But
Yeah. Mouse droids.
true.
Running
Yes.
around the hallway. Those are in the
Yes.
first one.
This is true.
Yeah. The droids now, it's like the droids are either really, really cute or really, really scary, and there's no in between.
Very true. Yeah, I thought that except that I knew that Cassian survived when he had that encounter with the K2SO, like,
Yeah, the enforcer droid.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, that thing is going to choke him out. He's just going to die. Except that I know he doesn't die.
Yeah.
But that seemed to be a possibility.
And the torture droids.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man.
So nasty.
I do want to talk. So there was the main villain of Daedra Miro. There's her boss, who is that. He's from Game of Thrones. He's like Cersei's Grand Maester when she takes over, and he like makes the zombie mountain. I forget his name, but he also kind of stole the show. I have
I guess I don't know which one you're talking about.
the guy who runs the secret police, the Imperial officer who like runs that whole thing. But
So it's
he was
either Supervisor Lagrit, played by Michael Jen, or Major Partagaz. Either of those ring a bell?
I'm gonna click on Michael Jen and see what I get.
I bet it's the other one.
Negative.
It's the other one. It's Anton Lesser playing Major Partagaz.
Oh yes, that's him. That's the guy. He was really good in his roles, and also there was this other bad guy, but he's so
Cyril?
bizarre. Yeah, his character is just so odd to me, but
I think that here's my honest to goodness thought. I think he's coded to be neurodivergent. So whether that's autistic or something else, because he's very hyper fixated on like the way he looks. He wants to present himself a certain way. He's very awkward interacting with people.
Yeah,
Not that
he
all
he's
autistic people are awkward interacting with people, but he's clearly like missing some social cues. And he wants to follow things by the book. He's very obsessive compulsive. So maybe he's got an OCD thing going on.
yeah, and I don't know, but he strikes me as someone who is very um desperate, and he really wants to be recognized. Um,
Well, when he ends up going back home, his mom is such a nag the whole time he's there.
yeah, she's the
Because
worst.
she's terrible. So I'm like, well, no wonder he grew up to have like a complex of some
Yeah,
kind. Um,
like he custom tailors his uniforms. No one else
mhm,
does that. He has
mhm,
his uniforms custom tailored.
mhm.
Um, he's super by the book, like you said, obsessively, and he has like no charisma whatsoever. Like there's this scene where he's supposed to like give this inspiring
Oh
speech
my
to like his
gosh.
troops as they're gonna go in and like raid this planet and arrest Andor and all this stuff.
The
And
secondhand
it's
awkward
yeah, it
is
was
so
awful.
bad.
And his second in command had to step in and like
Do it
damage
for him.
control.
Hmm.
Um, which what a I mean, the second in command guy, he's like working for their corporation. He's like not a good dude, but at the same time, it's like, well, at least he like sticks up for his commanding officer guy, and he's like,
Yeah.
he seems really loyal.
Hmm.
But anyway, um, back to Cyril. Yeah, he's just odd, and there's this part where he's like stalking Miro.
Oh yeah.
He's like waiting for her outside of her work, and then he confronts her outside of her work and like grabs her arm and all this stuff. And I'm like so confused about where their character dynamic is going, especially at the end of the season where like he saves her life from the
Hmm.
mob. And I'm like, what is happening here? Are they about to become like an evil couple or something? Like I feel like he would be okay with that. Part of me kind of thinks Cyril's got the hots for Miro. I don't know. What do you think about their
Oh,
like how
I
their
don't know.
characters interact?
I totally get where you're coming from because it was like a very like the tension was so
Yeah,
it would for sure be an enemies to lover because when they first interact, it's pretty clear that she hates him and wants absolutely nothing to do with him ever.
yeah,
But after he saves her, she's kind of like she looks conflicted.
yeah,
She's like, "Why are you here?" But also, "Thank you."
yeah,
So I don't know. I think maybe she'll see him as more valuable, but I don't know what that will mean for his character. But I generally find him to be very off-putting.
yeah. And it's sad. Part of me feels bad for him, like
Oh yeah.
as a person. There's so many scenes where like he's just at like the lowest of lows. He has to go move back in with his mom. He got fired from his corporation because of that bungled uh,
Hmm.
arrest of Cassian Andor.
Which Cassie
And
was totally guilty.
yeah, yeah. So
Should have been arrested.
that's
Hmm.
the thing. This guy did arguably did all the right things
Hmm.
if you think about it from just like a moral perspective. He
Hmm.
in his head he was just chasing down a murderer.
Hmm.
Um, doesn't matter how justified or not Cassian was
Hmm.
in killing someone. I'd have to go rewatch that scene when he did that. I feel like it might have been an accident when it happened.
Well, the first one was an
Um,
accident.
yeah,
The second one was damage control.
yeah.
So.
But he did everything right. He went in by the book, and it's like, man, it's not my fault these rebels are so crafty and they blew up a whole bunch of my dudes. Like
Hmm.
he he went in there not expecting to have nearly as much resistance as he
Right.
had. Um,
Right.
and he took a lot of flack for it and lost his job.
Hmm. Well, it was kind of a
So
perfect storm because Luthen was also there,
yeah,
um, unbeknownst to anybody.
hmm
Um, so he was also causing extra trouble for Cyril. But
Yeah.
okay, we need to talk about Andy Serkis.
I was about to say that. Yeah. What a dude.
What a dude
Man, he stole the show in those last few episodes
that he was in. Yeah.
that he was in. He was in the very last episode, but um man, what a like I'm so glad that I got to see him in a role where he just got to be him and he wasn't doing mocap. He's a really, really skilled mocap person, but it's always enjoyable to just see him act just as him.
Yeah, because he's so talented.
Yeah. And it wasn't a cheesy over the top Marvel villain role like he was in like the Black Panther movies. The one-armed mercenary dude that was stealing all the
I totally forgot he was in the Black Panther movies.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, no, it's very sincere character. He's doing his time. He's a supervisor in this work camp prison. And he knows how many days he has left. He's almost done. He's so close to being done. And Cassian shows up and just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing until they figure out that even if you finish your time, you're just going to get put back in on a different floor because they need workers. And they don't really care how they get them.
Nope.
Which explains why Cassian got thrown in there kind of willy-nilly for nothing. For literally nothing.
He was I'm a tourist.
Yeah. And then the whole insurrection of that camp and everything was just like the setting was fascinating. The premise of that whole this is where like you see the fascism really happening, right?
Yeah.
Man, I just have so many feelings about the show because it was so enlightening in a political sense.
Yeah, I was about to say this. Okay, so you have like the Skywalker Saga, which feels much more fantasy, right? There's people with superpowers and magic swords and they have space magic, you know. Andor feels much more sci-fi. They're exploring like morality surrounding different like technology advances and like they're exploring
And like oppression between groups.
Yeah. And you've got like a government that is all powerful, has all this technology and power at their disposal, how they can abuse that. In this worker camp, they can electrify the floors and just zap you. They don't even have to handcuff you. They can just zap you with the floors. So like just it felt much more sci-fi. And that whole prison break with Andy Serkis and everything, getting to see Andy Serkis's character go from I'm just going to keep my head down, do my time, run my floor, and everything's going to be fine. I'll be out of here. I'll be scot-free. And seeing like the hope of that just slowly die. But it's just so sad at the end too, because they're in the middle of an ocean and we get to the end, they finally find a way to break out and they break like everyone out. Like everyone on their different floors has rebelled and taken the guns off the guards. They took the control room. They're not going to electrify the floors. And they're all like running and jumping out of this tower to swim to land to escape. And he's like, I can't swim.
Yeah.
So like all of that character development, him like helping everyone escape, it was just such a selfless act because he realized I've got nothing to lose, but at least I can try to get these people out.
Yeah.
So it was like, man, pour one out for Andy Serkis's character. Like
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
The most true rebel in the entire show, like willing to lay down his life so that other people could escape the tyranny.
Yeah.
Knowing that he would get no benefit from it. Like, man, what a martyr. Just like so
like,
good.
And because it's such a like everyone is rushing to get off of this platform, he says that to Cassian, and you see Cassian like trying to reconcile what he said, and then Cassian gets pushed off. Like
Yeah.
he can't have that conversation to like, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so terrifying. And then you only see two prisoners, Cassian and then this other guy, actually like escape. We can assume that others did, but we don't see that. It's like, that's sad.
Yeah, we don't know how many actually made it.
How many
But
survived?
because they were hunting
So,
them down. Like there were ships flying around trying to scoop them up. But man,
there's so much in this show.
they cover a lot of ground.
They do.
There's the Mon Mothma plot with her trying to get the funds for like sponsoring this rebellion, but she has to do it under the radar so that she doesn't get found out. She has to like marry her daughter off to a sleazy banker.
Well, it's just an introduction.
It's an arranged marriage.
It totally is.
But there's that whole plot line. There was the heist of them stealing a bunch of like an entire payroll for a sector of the Empire. That was insane. That whole heist. It was really fun to watch. And it was visually stunning too, with the special effects, with like the light show that happens on that planet.
Yeah, that was cool.
When they were pulling that heist off. That was a really fun plot line. It was just the whole. I know there were some critiques. Some people thought that it had moments where it dragged, story wise. But I would say I understand. Like there were moments where I was like, it's been a little while since there's been any like action, but all of the action scenes that we got had really high stakes and they served a purpose. They weren't there weren't any just throwaway action scenes in this show, really.
No.
Everything made sense. There wasn't just action for action's sake. And I thought that was also a really refreshing change for a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Star Wars definitely has some
unnecessary
just fight scenes for the sake of fight scenes. Yeah. I want to see this laser sword swing around. So we're going to that's Star Wars, But everything was super intentional.
So, yeah. And
so I understand why people thought that for Star Wars it was slower paced, because I feel like it had less action, but the action, I think it was quality over quantity with the action we did have.
Right. And it made more sense. Like,
yeah.
I would say that a valid critique of the Boba Fett show is that there's a lot of action that's just like, why is this happening right now?
Yeah. The moped chase on Tatooine.
Waving my arms.
I'm gonna spin in a circle and then shoot my gun. Yeah, it's like there's just a bunch of random stuff that was unnecessary.
Yeah.
I feel like Mandalorian is right in the middle.
Yeah.
They have some unnecessary stuff, but also it still feels like high stakes. Yeah,
but
I don't know.
The epitome of this high stakes, everything building up to this explosive final episode. And we have to talk about Marva. Because I also adore her. I want more Marva. We won't probably get that unless we
Too
go
bad.
back but like the fact that she like was on a planet and discovered this kid Cassian, and presumably his sister. Like I want more information on how that all happened and what happened after that. Well, not his sister, because he's looking for his sister, but anyway, I need a little more Cassian backstory at some point.
Yeah.
From like when he was a kid. But she like takes him in and saves him because the Imperials are coming, and like adopts him, and then she raises him. And she is like a pillar in her community on this work planet. And very well respected. And she's a rebel at heart, right? Like she's all about sticking it to the man, in her own quiet way. And she had so many moments where she was talking to Cassian about like why she couldn't leave, like why her place was there. I think she knew she was dying. And so she didn't want to be a burden, which ended up being good because he ended up being in prison for half that time anyway. So what was
Yeah.
Marva gonna do while Cassian was in prison?
Yeah.
But so she dies, and they have a big funeral thing for her, ceremony. And I thought that the way that they handled like that planet's culture around death and like what they do to their deceased was really powerful.
Yeah.
And Cassian's buddy, whose name I'm going to look up because I would watch a whole show that's just him.
Him. Bix was the girl who got tortured,
Not
I
Bix.
believe.
The big guy. Brasso.
Oh, okay.
He's the one that so Cassian goes back to the
Yeah.
planet and he goes, I'll take care of Marva. And he carries the brick and he's part of this procession. And they start playing her holograph where she's basically inciting rebellion.
From the grave.
From the grave. It was
What a
so
power
good.
move.
It was so good. And then he uses like the brick of Marva to like bash people in the face.
Yeah.
Just crack
I'm
me
going to
up.
bash a stormtrooper's helmet in with your brick, Marva.
Yeah, it just cracked me up. But like, and he like that whole scene though. He's in the middle of it, and he's really standing up for what Marva believed. Not that Cassian isn't, but he's able to like be present.
Right.
And that whole sequence, I was just like, oh my gosh, crying watching it.
Yeah. That was that whole moment where like all hell breaks loose on that planet, and they almost managed to take out Miro
So
in that
close.
mob. So close to taking her out. And she got saved by that little
Cyril. Yeah.
cereal eating.
Does eat a lot of cereal. Oh, that's funny.
This blue milk. Man. So weird. Anyway, yeah, that whole last episode and that scene with the riot on the planet was very powerful. And the guy that's like hitting the anvil up in the tower and like they're coming up to try to stop him and he was like bashing people with his hammer so he can keep beating the anvil. It's like, man, this is like blue collar workers rising up against the authority and the oppression of like the big corporations and the tyrannical government. And like, man, yeah, that whole riot scene was just so powerful. And I feel like Cassian getting off of the work camp planet, that really forged him into like this rebellious spirit. He had it before, but that like really solidified him.
Yeah.
And that I think was his okay, I'm in moment.
Yeah, so his initial like induction into the rebellion was basically coercion, right? Luthen takes him off the planet, saves him, and then is like, you're going to do this job.
Help me steal all this money from the Empire.
And you
It'll
don't
be
really have a
fun.
choice.
It'll be fun, he said.
Yeah. And the whole time, Cassian's just like very reluctant. Like he's doing it, but he's like...
He's got one foot out the door the whole time. He's ready to bolt at any moment.
Which like, yeah, he doesn't have any...
Fair.
He doesn't understand the stakes of the game. He doesn't really get why he's there. He has nothing to invest himself in this. And then after he gets put in the work camp unjustly, it like opens his eyes to, oh, this is like I knew that things were bad on our planet, which I can't even remember what the name of that planet was. But like this isn't just happening there. There's a systemic problem.
Yeah.
And now I'm
this
invested.
is all over. Yeah.
And now I'm invested.
Yeah.
And also they're like ruining my adopted mom's funeral.
Man.
And she's amazing. And she's like speaking from the grave and he's hearing this like inciting moment, right? It's funny because we kind of get the inciting moment at the very end.
Yeah.
The call to action.
We just got like a little mini inciting incident at the beginning with like him being coerced into this heist. It was kind of like it wasn't so much an inciting moment as much of a like you really stepped in it, and now you're in this and you can't get out.
Yeah.
Bummer. But then
Yeah.
this was like, okay, now I'm actually this is a cause that I now believe in, and I'm going to I'm a rebel now.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to talk about the end credits scene. But I also
Yes.
want to talk about like a theory that I read before the show had ended that I thought was funny, and I like almost thought it was going to be true. But
Okay.
then we saw the end credits scene and it dashed it. But it's fine.
I'm fascinated.
In the work camp, like prison planet, where they're building these contraptions, they're all the same. They're all uniform. They're these weird like starfish looking things. They're mechanical. They're putting these things together. They're timed on it. They have to hit a certain quota. The lowest quota team gets zapped. So awful. Man, that's such a bleak moment in the show too. I just you could feel the oppression of like the system just bearing down on all these poor people. But then I saw someone comment like, what if the thing that they're trying to figure out that happened on the other floor is that it somehow got out, that on like a couple floors down they're taking them apart and and they're just doing this meaningless work of putting them back together, and then they get sent down to another floor and they get taken apart, and then they get taken back to the next floor and put back together. It's just a never-ending cycle of busy work that results in being zapped if you don't do it.
I mean, honestly, that would not have surprised me.
No, it still would have been just as messed up because it's like, it's manual labor for no reason. It's just to break these people down and like kill them eventually, like that poor old guy. Yeah, so that was a theory that I thought was almost going to be true, but then we see in the end credit scene that those pieces that they were putting together were going into the big laser dish in the Death Star. So the Death Star is under construction. It looks way farther along than I thought it was. It's like close to done. We're close to Rogue One timeline,
Yeah,
which
that's
makes
what I was
sense.
gonna say. We're closer to Rogue One than I thought we were going to be in this show.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like this is going to run straight up into Rogue One, which will run straight up into A New Hope. So it's going to be like a nice little, you watch the Andor show, then you watch Rogue One, then you watch A New Hope, and then you get that nice little, they're going to bridge into each other really nicely, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that Andor does something for, it like explains the stakes of A New Hope far better than the prequel series does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like the prequel series, we see like, oh, there's this galactic thing happening with the Jedi, and the Jedi are destroyed, and that's a problem because it's genocide of a sort. But like that doesn't seem like it would have that much of an impact on the everyday person in the galaxy, right? Because the Jedi, they go on like peacekeeping missions, right? Like they're not everywhere all the time. They're not like an omnipresent group.
Yeah. Some people don't even believe they exist, you know?
Right, because they never saw them. But the way that the government, meaning the Empire, is oppressing people on planets, taking resources, taking people, is impacting everything. It does make the stakes higher in A New Hope.
For sure. Yep.
So, and it's also like an explanation for wow, my train of thought just like took a nosedive.
Still getting over a cold.
Yes.
Cold brain.
Because I was thinking about Alderaan and like the moment when like they destroy Alderaan as a test. Like that's that's awful. Objectively awful.
Yeah.
But like that's not the first planet that they destroyed. It's the first planet they blew up.
Yeah. They wrecked Jeddah
Yeah.
in Rogue One. You can't tell me that
That's
anyone on that planet survived long after. Like, it was, it's only a single reactor ignition. It's only going to destroy the city. That put a crater in that planet the size of Montana. Like, that was an extinction level event, dude. The planet might still be there, but like all life is over.
Yeah.
Anyway, little mini tangent. But it also raises the stakes for me of like, it gives me a newfound appreciation of what the Jedi were and what they stood
Mm-hmm.
for and what their job was supposed to be. They
Right.
became battlefield commanders in during the Clone Wars, which was
Mm-hmm.
never their intended role. They were guardians of peace and justice.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had, this is why Palpatine had to take them out before he could have his evil empire that trampled all over everyone's rights and let him do whatever he wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
for power, because they would not have let things like what we see happen in the Andor show happen. Uh,
Right. Right.
they would be there to shut things down in those cases when there's like people getting unjustly imprisoned. If the
Mm-hmm.
Jedi had found out about that prison camp place, they would have been in
Oh
there to
yeah.
shut it down.
Yep.
There, so
And people
there's
wouldn't have
like
had to jump off of a platform. They would have like gotten them out of there
pulling them off.
in a
Yeah.
safe way.
So like when you
Yeah.
see Obi-Wan saying like before the dark times, before the Empire, it's like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you had these knights that were there to protect the common folk, and then you take that away, you take like the one shield away, and then you get to see like what happens when the power
Yeah.
runs amok and
Right. So we
the
primarily see
corporations.
them as like commanders of an army
Yeah.
in the prequel series. So yeah, you're totally right that this is a good explanation or example of what the Jedi were supposed to be doing, even though
Yeah.
they were preoccupied and caught up in the Galactic Senate and all that.
And we can see that them deviating from their right path in like the Tales of the Jedi with Dooku and Qui-Gon, with like that the senator's son that got kidnapped by those townspeople, and
To
then
prove a
Dooku and
point.
Qui-Gon end up siding with the townspeople against the senator because of the corruption, the blatant corruption that was happening, and they did it to like raise awareness and to try to get the people's attention outside of their planet, what was happening.
Which is not us condoning like kidnapping
No,
ever.
no,
But
it's not an excuse. It's just an
No.
explanation.
yes, yes.
It's not like they were trying to ransom him. They were trying to
No.
convince him what was happening was wrong. And then when the kid got released, he was like, "Dad, this is messed up. Why are you doing this?" Like the kid was on their side too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like that's what the Jedi were supposed to be. And so
Truth
it also
seekers.
it makes me appreciate like Luke Skywalker. Like he's gonna become a Jedi Knight so that there's someone to stand up for the common people again. I mean, he does become a commander in the rebellion, but it's like it's kind of a position of need, you know, because he's also a really good pilot. But once they win and overthrow the Empire, he starts up the Jedi Academy again, and they start doing their thing, you know. But so all that to say, I think that Andor does a really good job of like pulling you into the world, the universe, galaxy, far, far away, whatever.
Multiple
And
galaxies. I don't know.
yeah, and so it does just a really good job of sucking you in, and it has those political things like way more in the forefront. And I think all that it does is enrich the rest of the story by making us think about those things that we didn't really get to think about before.
Right.
So
And
anyway,
that's what I meant by it. It does what The Last Jedi wanted to do with Canto Bight.
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
So we should have said at the beginning, big spoilers. But
It should go without saying. The title
Yeah.
is Unpacking Andor. Full of spoilers here.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, those are my thoughts on the show. Could probably talk for another hour if I wanted to. But,
I know. I'm very excited for season 2.
oh, yeah, me too. Super pumped. Like I said, I hope we get to see K2SO at some point join the fray.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Diego Luna just killed it.
He really did.
What a
What a great actor.
fantastic actor. So good.
Yeah, yeah. It's just really good representation in Star Wars for people from Central America and South America that we hadn't really gotten a lot of before. So that's really cool. That's
No,
cool.
it's been really nice to see more people of color get big roles.
Yeah.
And they're just fantastic.
Yeah.
Honestly. And
Well done.
It's a galaxy, so there should be representation.
Yeah.
I
mean, we do get to see a lot of funky aliens, but there shouldn't be a million funky aliens and then the one token black guy.
Or a million funky aliens and then only white people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a whole thing.
It is a whole thing. But Diego Luna, so good. I hope he wins awards for this show.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well
and
done.
Andy Serkis, because, oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yep. And well done to Tony Gilroy, who was the, I think he is the creator.
Okay.
Or Dan Gilroy.
I don't know.
Created by Tony Gilroy. Yeah. I think I had heard from somewhere that he did some of the Bourne series, like the Bourne Identity, which are like, it's like a movie series about a spy. So like it makes sense that he did well with this. So good job to everyone involved. Well done. Good show.
Can't wait to see more.
Yep. Awesome. Well, what do you think? Have we talked long enough about Andor?
I mean, I think we could probably talk longer, but this is the last episode for 2022.
It is.
This is capping off season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, we are going to take a break in January, like we did this year.
Mm-hmm.
But we will be back, depending on, how the days line up, either very end of January, early February. But if you're a member of our Patreon and you're one of our, I don't even remember, all access VIP patrons, you'll still get bonus content in January from us.
Mm-hmm.
So if you miss us, that's where we'll be. And of course the read along will be on. So
yes, for sure.
yeah.
Well, I guess on that note, until next time, go watch some Star Wars.
And we'll talk at you next time.
Next year. We'll talk at you next year.
Next year. Ooh.
Later.
Bye. See you 2022.
Get out of here. No one liked you. Loser. All right. Bye.
Bye.